Alright, a video popped up on my feed called I Tried to Insert Myself into a Random Friend Group by Sasha Chimaera. I'm not familiar with her, but it looked unhinged, and I'm going to hope that it is and just live react to it. Let's go.
This is going to be my final attempt to film this video because I just want to keep it under 10 minutes this time, and I'm already taking up time. So, okay, it's video time. All right, let's go. So, the last video I was making about friends and how I have trouble making friends and how I don't really know how to make friends. And I think on some level, you know, I don't know, I do know how to make friends. I have friends. I have lots of friends. I have plenty of close friends, and I get very close to my friends in a way that's appropriate. But I don't have any friends. I don't have any friends in person here. All my friends are on the internet now. See, I come from Brooklyn, and
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Brooklyn, there's just so many people all the time, and there's always people around you, and you could always find something to do, and there's always someone to hang out with, and there's always somewhere to be, and there's always something going on, blah, 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 blah. So, I don't live in Brooklyn anymore, and I don't know I don't know how to meet people. I don't drive. I don't do anything. I don't know how to talk to people. I don't spend very much time interacting with people, and so those muscles are kind of being autistically forgotten, and also my eccentricity is being encouraged to the max.
I actually know somebody like this who kind of talks continuously like that, and in a similar kind of speech pattern too. They even kind of like resemble this person. It's interesting. Huh.
As I continue to become more and more viral and more internet. Excuse me. So.
I do not know what that was.
I was making the video about friends, and while I was doing that, I happened to walk past a group of people who were sitting and talking a little bit and listening to Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar, which, if you don't know that song, it's been the song of the summer, and it's the clinching blow in the Kendrick Lamar beat. And, you know, I walk past him and I'm bobbing my head, because I love that song, and, you know, I walk away for maybe a minute, and then I just kind of stop, and I start to weigh in my head. I'm thinking, okay, they're listening to Kendrick. I like Kendrick Lamar. I like listening to music, and I like to talk and do it sometimes. So, well, that's something that we've got in common, and we're all in the same place.
This person is so resembling somebody that I know. It is uncanny. I don't know.
So
I guess I don't know where they live, but Brooklyn's like New York's not crazy far. I think you could drive there within a day of where I live. Now I live in Canada, and not super close to New York, but not incredibly far either.
I have just been kind of standing still and contemplating, trying to get my nerve up to go up to them, you know, because it's not something that really comes easy to me, talking to any person, sometimes even if I know them. But yeah, I steel my nerves, and after like a minute of just standing still, thinking, what are the pros, what are the cons, should I do it, should I not do it, this could go really badly, or it could go well, I don't really know how it's going to go, let's just do it. And so I walked back up to them, and I said, hey, did you know that Kendrick dropped? And they were all kind of like, no. I don't know if I mentioned, but they were sitting in a gazebo. And the gazebo is composed of 2 semicircle benches opposite each other.
I mean, I don't really care about this story at all, but I am shockingly fascinated at how much this person resembles somebody that I know. The person that I know is also a woman. Like similar facial structure, similar mannerisms, way of speaking. Now, the person I know is a ginger and is probably shorter than this woman, but there's a crazy resemblance.
So, I stepped onto the veranda. I don't know what to call it. I stepped onto the opening part of the gazebo and I said, "I'm not intruding, am I?" And they said no. And I sat on the bench opposite them. And it was just immediately awkward. This is just like a group of friends hanging out and listening to music. They're having like a smoke, chill, listen sesh. I just kind of showed up in their business, and then I didn't even ask, "Can I join you?" I just said, "Hey, Kendrick dropped." This one guy is like, "Really? Like, let me look for it." And I said, "Yeah, it's heavy though." And then I said, "I'm not intruding, am I?" And they said no, and I sat down, but the thing is, they can't really tell me if I'm intruding or not. That's almost an irrelevant question at that point, because it's just kind of like, okay, well, how are they going to say, yeah, like, you're intruding, like, we were vibing, and now you're messing it up? Like, people don't want to be like that. No one wants to have to say that. It sucks to have to reject someone.
Yeah, I mean, that would be very rude for somebody to actually do. It's just it didn't actually break the ice, and that's the thing with kind of meeting people is you have to be able to jump from topic to topic, and that can be hard. I'm sure, especially for someone like you, who has a lot to say, who can talk quickly and at length, at depth about a topic, is you can kind of overdo it. You also don't want to switch topics too quickly, because then it kind of becomes like you're just string of consciousness. You just speaking at people, and you don't want that. There needs to be a back and forth, and it's hard to navigate.
It's probably better. It's better that it was a group of people, I think. But I'm realizing all this, and that maybe I didn't. I thought that I had, anticipated this kind of thing, and I kind of had in my head. But really, I had no idea. I mean, I just like really out of touch with reality, really out of touch with the way that things worked. Have not been having social interactions in person very much at all with, just a variety of people. And so, yeah, was realizing, oh my God, I did actually just forget how to make friends. This is not what you do. This is weird. What I'm doing right now, this is really weird. I don't even go here. And so it's
going to be hard for you for sure, which I'm sure you already know. I feel so bad for people when I come across these videos about people struggling to make friendships. I always wish that I could be their friend, because realistically, if they lived locally, I would hang out with them and kind of help them develop other friendships, and when it's somebody like this who has problems socializing in a very noticeable way, and the fact that this person resembles somebody that I know incredibly to a shocking amount, it makes you feel like, I wish I could be friends with you, because I've been friends with somebody like you before, so I know how how to like socialize with you as well, because it's a give and take. Even people who are kind of like who are good at making friends to an extent, there's a lot of like people in this middle ground where most people are, and they feel awkward. They don't know how to socialize with you just as much as you don't know how to socialize with them, because they're going to be thrown off by your speech patterns and your mannerisms. They're going to think that that maybe you're on something, maybe there's something very wrong with you, and that's going to be a little off-putting. But like me, somebody who's dealt with somebody just like you, I know I can tell like a lot about your personality very quickly, whereas other people aren't going to be able to do that. So their impression of you is going to be based off of assumptions they make that would probably lean slightly negative, unfortunately.
Just that feeling of knowing that you are the awkwardness, that everyone is just like being too polite. Knowing that feeling of knowing that you're the elephant in the room is one that I'm really familiar with, and I'm also not sure how often it's actually true and how often I'm anxious, but I think in this instance it was actually true, because I think that I would feel weird if somebody did that to me if I was hanging out in a friend group and I don't know, there wasn't more to go off of other than, did you hear Kendrick's new drop? Yeah, it's kind of heavy. This one guy can't find it, and he's saying I can't find it, and then I look on my phone and I say, because I actually forgot the name of it because I was panicking a little bit, and then I said, oh, it's called Watch the Party Die, but yeah, like I said, kind of heavy, because I'm like, I don't want to mess up their vibe even more, and at that point, haha, like, don't kill my vibe, haha, because Kendrick, that didn't play. They did play Rich Spirit, though, but when I tell the guy the name of the song is Watch the Party Die, I move over to their bench. To me, this feels like a big mistake. Now it's like, it's 5, 10, 15 times as weird. And I've been...
I mean, that is coming on a little strong. That you need a little bit more conversation before you can sit next to somebody like that. It's going to be... it's just a little too much. You just needed to wait. Get the conversation flowing a little bit more. And then show them something, right? Like, you got your phones. Come up with something that you can like show them. Maybe you have a meme on your phone, or say like, hey, there's this meme. You could even type up, I mean, you wouldn't have a lot of time, but in theory, if you were quick with your fingers, you could type up like Kendrick Lamar meme and quickly look through them and go and sit by them and show them the meme, and maybe they'll enjoy it. Or show them, I don't really do this like playlists of songs and stuff that you're talking about, but maybe there's a similar artist who you think they might like, and say like, hey, are you familiar with this? And go over and show them on your playlist or whatever somebody you think they might like, and just start playing it for a bit and say like, yeah, I love this song. Like, you'd probably like it, and because otherwise they're gonna feel like, why is this person moving so much closer to me? When there's not an excuse, it comes across as very aggressive.
In this for, it's been now maybe 7-8 minutes since I rolled up, and I am not. This is not working out. Like, this is not happening. Like, the conversation's not really happening. The conversation has been, can you find this video, the YouTube video? No. Oh, keep looking. It's, the guy's just, everyone's just on their phone, sitting vibing, except maybe not as much now because of me. And this awful urge starts to grow inside of me because I'm sitting too close. These people don't want to make conversation. I want to leave. I don't want to just like get up. For some reason I can't do the normal thing, and I can't just get up.
The cringe and the awkwardness kind of ramp up, because then it kind of makes it more awkward that you sat next to them and then just left. There is an increase in cringe and awkwardness that basically you're trying to avoid by not just leaving, but internally you're like, oh God, I just want to get out of here. I want this to be over, but I don't want that quick ramp up before I leave.
And say, well, I hope you guys enjoy your afternoon. Listen to the Kendrick. No, just like, yeah, I don't know. Just leave and be humble. And, gosh, it's getting loud over here. So, instead, what I do...
Oh, God. Yeah, that would have been good. Then, have a good one, guys. And also, if I was a woman, now I'm not a woman, never have been, but I would try to come up with something to where they might run into you again. Say, hey, this is things going on tonight. And even if it's something you don't necessarily want to go to, you could say, hey, this, like, such and such is going on tonight. And, like, maybe some kind of weird local event or something stupid, or even like a bar or restaurant having, like, say it's a wing night or Taco Tuesday or something stupid like that, that maybe a group of friends would, like, hit up, right? Like the half off appetizers. Something that isn't even, like, technically an event, but kind of set them up to run into you another time. And then say they do that, say you go to half off appetizers at a Krabby Joe's, and then they go too, and they run into you, and they're going to talk you up, and that awkwardness will just not be there at all, and you can kind of start to get to know each other. That's what I would do if I was a woman. I forget if she specified if this was all a bunch of guys, but because what guys would say if you walked away, if you said something like that, they would say, yeah, maybe that sounds good, maybe we should go, like, oh, that girl's kind of cute, like, you know. Typically guys are wanting to get to know women, so yeah, even if they aren't interested in dating you, if they, like, guys want to be friends too, and you can kind of set yourself up for success.
Is I say, hey, can I ask you guys something? And
oh God,
the girl closest to me kind of is like, what? And they're all stoned. Most of them are, at least. I mean, I don't know, because I don't know them, so I have no idea. But the girl closest to me is kind of like, huh? And I said, can I ask you something? And then she's like, yeah, I guess. And so I just addressed them as a group, and I said, I'm a content creator. You make videos for YouTube and Instagram, and I was wondering if you could help me out with something, because I was making a video about making friends and how to make friends, and I don't know how to make friends, and so do you guys have any advice for me? And they were kind of like, I don't know, like, just looking at each other like, what is wrong with this person? Then I said, oh, well, we don't have to film it. Maybe we could just talk.
Oh, God. Your lack of confidence in the social interaction is going to be kind of like off-putting. It's going to be throwing them off. Yikes. It's something that, again, like I wish I had that kind of social interaction with somebody, because I would just be like totally willing to help them. I mean, I'm the type of person who's kind of down for whatever and always down to get to know people. Unless they're obviously douchey or annoying. And I love talking about these kinds of topics, right? I've thought about making videos about making friends and reacting to that type of video, and that's what I'm doing now.
And the one dude who was vibing to the music the most, he turns off the music and he smiles at me and he says, "What was the question?" And I just say, "How do I make friends?" And the act dropped completely. I don't know. I had this impulse, this compulsion that was kind of like, oh no, things aren't going well. I need to take control of the situation. I need to turn this into content. Yeah, that's right. I'm doing content, and this has all just been for a video, and so this is for my video now, and I'm not like weird or anything. And so after I asked, how do you make friends, there was like a silence, and the guy was thinking, and I was just looking at all of them, and I said I'm desperately trying to salvage this interaction. Like, I don't know, I'm being so awkward. I mean, because you guys can see I just kind of rolled up here and sat with you, and I feel like that's not cool, and that's not how you do it. But how do you do it? And this guy, he said, "Do you know yourself?" He asked me. And I said, "Yeah, I feel like I know myself pretty well." And he said, "Then you got a friend right there. That's where you start." And I said, "Okay." And he said, "Then you need to find your place, and you need to find your people, and you gotta find something that you have in common with people. For us, he said, we've all come together, and we like to vibe and listen to music, and we all keep it real, and we're all open and honest with each other." And I'm like, heck yeah, that's all awesome. It was really, really nice what he said about you have a friend right there.
That is a really nice thing to say, and it's true. I'm somebody who has a very active imagination, and I pretty much found out the value in having that active imagination, being able to sit in a waiting room, and I'm daydreaming, I'm thinking about this, thinking about good memories, coming up with crazy ideas. It's almost like I'm almost constantly, not constantly, but if I'm bored and have nothing to do, I'm thinking about stuff that I might do in the future, but I'm also just coming up with ideas of weird fictional stuff. What if I don't know. What if, just for an example, this hasn't actually happened, but I don't know, just weird stuff. Like, what if Goku and Spider-Man fused? What would that be like? Because then you have Goku's powers and you have Spider-Man's powers. Just dumb stuff like that, and like that can keep you entertained forever. Because if you can learn to have fun by yourself doing literally nothing, then that will add so much joy and fun to your life. I had this coworker who would kind of mumble, and you'd have no idea what he's saying most of the time. But he would just mumble to himself and then laugh his head off. Laugh till he was purple in the face. And I loved that guy. That aspect of that guy reminded me of myself, because I'm constantly thinking of funny things and making myself laugh, even like not even saying stuff out loud. My coworkers will look over at me and they'll be like, all right, what's funny? Because they know I'm like thinking of something funny or remembering something funny, and I'll just be like sitting there like trying not to make noise, giggling to myself, thinking of something that's just hilarious.
If you know yourself. And he also did say you can't just, come up to a bunch of people. We're in a group, we always keep it real. We're all open and honest with each other. But he did kind of say you can't just come up in that, you have to find your people. And I felt like that was a really nice and gentle way of letting me down, because I could tell the way the interaction was going. I wasn't going to make friends out of this interaction.
It's also adding a certain pressure when you approach things in such a way, because they're instantly going to think that you have a major problem making friends and being a part of a friend group. So that adds the pressure that if they invite you in, then you're kind of instantly going to be very clingy. You're going to believe that you're a core member of this friend group when you're not. And it's tricky, because you can join a friend group and be kind of a secondary member or a tertiary member, and you could also join a friend group and after a certain amount of time you become a core member of that friendship. But it takes time, and it's tricky, because it's a lot easier to become a core member of a friend group by forming one, which usually would happen if you and two of your coworkers start hanging out or something, and you probably none of you would hang out one-on-one, or you'd be less likely to hang out one-on-one, and you start hanging out in the context of there being 3 or 4 or 5 of you, so you get comfortable in the friendships form in that kind of formation. And that's how a friend group kind of forms. Or it's just a friend group adapting over time and absorbing people and then becoming normally a friend group is gonna kind of change over time, and somebody has some kind of conflict, so now this person's no longer in the friend group, and it's a big mess. But it's hard to jump right in, especially if you aren't really a person who has a lot of friends, because then you have to be able to navigate that and understand where you exist in the friend group and be okay with that. And some people just wouldn't be okay with that. There are friend groups that I would say I'm a tertiary member of, where if the friend group's all hanging out, they might invite me, they might not. And I'm fine with that, because I don't have time to be close friends with any of those people. And some of those people in the past, at times, have been close friends with. It's just we ain't that close anymore. There's not enough time in the day. People get married, have kids. It's so hard to maintain those really close friendships as an adult, and your friend groups become less and less cliquey, less of a friend group, more of a loosely bound friend group.
But I might still learn something valuable from it. And someone asked, "Do you work?" And I said, "Yeah, I do, but it's all remote." And someone else said, I was gonna say maybe start with the internet, and I said no. I need to get away from that as far as connecting to people goes. Like, that's what I need to get away from. I don't know, why is it happening now?
Oh wow, what's happening? You seem very sad. I mean, you're crying. Obviously, you're very sad.
In my favorite comedy special on HBO, I think it's from 1977 or 1978. It's Andy Kaufman's HBO special from 1977 or 1978. And one of the infamous Andy Kaufman moments happens in it, which is, he just has this classic freak out. Because first he says, I don't understand one thing, why when I tell the jokes you're all going boo, and then when I don't want you to laugh, you're laughing. And then he says, I'm not here to show any talent. I just came here because I just want everyone to have a good time, and I want everyone to laugh and pretend like you're all my friends and we're having a good time. It doesn't work. I have no business being here. And I want to thank you for showing me where I'm at.
Ooh, I like these cool transitions.
So of course you can control what's going on in a show. It's a lot different from being on the go and in it and in experience. You don't want to turn that into that kind of thing. But
this is I wish there was a way. I would suggest you join a group or something, or find an activity. The thing with working with people is you're stuck with people for so long, friendships are going to naturally form. But there's other things you can do. You can join a club and also kind of have that slow build to a friendship happen. It's not necessarily going to be easy, but it's going to be easier than like cold approaching friends for sure.
I really did just feel, the show part is what's irrelevant. Also because I think I had this moment of panic where I was trying to turn the situation. I was considering salvaging the situation somehow by turning it into a video, which I guess I am kind of doing now, but it's because I wanted to talk about the experience, and I really didn't actually want to, I don't know, I felt like cheapen things by, oh my god, there's ants all over my phone. I didn't want to cheapen things by filming them, so I stopped saying that I would film the interaction, and I just put my phone down and I just listened to this guy talk about what it meant to be friends, and I listened to him, say where I gotta go, what I gotta do, and the like polite kind of rejection from their friend group. In a way, probably, yeah. I mean, I think but yeah, like what's for them to say? Like, what basics do they even have to say like that they would be my friend? I also didn't ask. I just blurted out that I was doing this video, and I feel like it was this thing where I was trying to make believe all these people were my friends, but I also tried to tie it into my content, which is maybe I think that's like a red flag. I don't know. I mean, I'd be extremely excited if I had this interaction with someone else, but that's because I'm me. And I guess I am my own friend. And I guess that guy really had some awesome advice. And I'm so scared to ever see any of them again. And it was really, really embarrassing. And I made a complete ass of myself. And after a little bit, there was not really anything to say. And
Well, the good thing about that is 3 days from now, they probably won't even remember that this even happened.
And they all just kind of left the area.
And it's only mildly awkward.
We all wished each other a good day. And so now I gotta find a friend. And I don't want to start with the internet. I don't want to meet anyone off the internet because I don't like it.
No, that's fair enough. But I would say you can kind of do the first step, right? Like, you don't want to form the entire friendship online and take away that face-to-face getting to know each other element. But you could kind of like soft meet somebody online, have like some introductory conversations, but then leave most of the getting to know each other for when you actually meet up. I don't see any issue with that, but you do you.
Maybe that sounds picky of me, but it's just, I don't know. I met almost every single friend I've ever had off of the internet. And of those people, I found that the people that I meet in real life... No, that's a made-up statistic. I just don't want to meet people off the internet. How about that? I just want to, like... I want to be able to have a relationship to the internet and a relationship to not the internet, to God. Why did I do this? No, but you know what? Like, ultimately, this is a good thing. I think this is a good thing because it really just woke me up to, I don't know, I feel like I don't get it. I don't get the rules. It all, when I start overthinking social interactions, it becomes this big complex thing. And I'm so in my head about it, and I'm so awkward, and I'm so weird, and I'm such a freak.
The problem is that you're overthinking it. That's what's making it difficult. That's why you're not understanding it, is because you're thinking too much about it.
And that's what I really felt like just walking up to those people. I felt like a freak. But maybe if I hadn't been like that, and if I had been confident about myself, and I had asked those people, hey, like, can I join you? It still might have been weird. But that's not even the point. I think the point is just that what is the point? There is a point. I don't mean that in a what's the point of anything fashion. I just mean, like, what is the point, you know? Whoa. it's just this moment that happened when I'm like, I leaned back into a persona in a moment of panic. I leapt to shield, because my pride was wounded. I leapt to shield the encounter in a veil of
it being for content. You wanted it to be a normal social interaction, but then it wasn't going well, so you panicked and made it about your channel and asking for advice from these people.
I don't know how would I say this, not to make it ironic, but performative. That's all it really like became. I moved to make it performative. I said, okay, well, my authentic and awkward attempt, maybe thinking about it, not so authentic, because I was worrying a little bit too much to be authentic. But I tried to then cover that up with performativity. I said, I'm actually making a video about this. Well, I had been making a video about this. It was not my plan to go interview people. But then I was thinking, that could be cool. Interview people about friendship, go up to friend groups. I think that I made a group of people maybe feel slightly uncomfortable today. I don't think that I'm a monster, and
That's fine. They probably did feel a little uncomfortable. That's part about life, is you feel uncomfortable at times, and you probably honestly kind of made their day in a lot of ways. It's just it gives them something to talk about. Like, hey, that was a little awkward and weird. Oh, like a person struggling. They probably talked about you after you left, and probably in a kind of positive way. Like, oh, like, hopefully they figure things out and get better at making friends, and maybe we should check out their content.
The entire interaction lasted like 7 minutes tops, and I don't think I feel bad for those 7 minutes. I think, but in the moment, okay, it was probably more than 7. I mean, it was probably more like 12, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, because maybe even more than that. Maybe it was longer. However long it was, I just felt terrible about the whole thing. But
no need to feel terrible. You can feel a little awkward. It sounds like it was pretty awkward, but probably nowhere close. Probably not the most awkward interaction they've had with somebody in the last 30 days.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, 15 minutes. It was 15 minutes maybe. 15-minute long encounter of awkwardness. And I won't do it again. If they say hey to me, then we can hang. But it doesn't seem like that was really the move. So I'll just accept that defeat and take it's not even a defeat. It's not a failure. It's a win, because I learned something, and I'm going to take the very sound advice, and also be grateful that these people were friendly to me, and they were not being mean to me, and they left in a way that was like graceful. And even if they were like, that was so weird later, I mean, I would probably think the same thing. Honestly, I've also had, I don't know.
I say this on my channel. I've never had a bad date. I've never had a painfully awkward date. I've never struggled to make friends. Most social interactions I have are very positive, very smooth. I can tell that even though I've dealt with somebody with a similar personality to you, that because of your level of awkwardness, if you and I were to meet there would be awkwardness. It would certainly happen. And I feel like what the result of that would be you pulling away. You saying, "Oh, this is doomed. This social interaction didn't go well. This person doesn't want to be my friend." When in reality, maybe I do, and you're kind of self-sabotaging, and that's no good. That's no good. You have to try to not do that, because me being somebody who doesn't give a crap about social awkwardness, doesn't really experience it, I'm one of the easiest people to get along with, get to know, to socialize with, and there would be difficulty if you and I were to socialize. That doesn't mean that it's just doomed. That's just a thing about you that you can kind of learn to be a little bit comfortable with. Otherwise, you're going to kind of be pushing everybody away. It's kind of all about putting the correct expectations on yourself. Because like I'm saying, even though I think if you and I met, it would be one of the least awkward social interactions you've probably ever had in your life. But I feel like you would still feel awkward about it. And you would still pull away because of the awkwardness that you feel, even though the interaction went great.
I know what it's like to be in their position. I have been part of a group of friends where there was kind of an interloper or an outlier, someone that didn't really know us, that was just kind of trying to hang with us. And I saw that person get dealt with by another member of the group in kind of a brutal way, that I didn't necessarily appreciate it, because it's like, okay, like, I don't really know this person, so I don't necessarily feel safe hanging out with them right now, but also they don't need to get crushed or like torn down. Like, they don't need to be made to feel like there's something wrong with them, to like have us not hang out. Maybe that didn't even happen. Maybe it wasn't that brutal. Maybe it's just like the act of like outright rejecting someone is brutal.
It is kind of brutal, right? Like when you're rejecting someone from a friendship, an entire friend group, it's going to be brutal.
Feels brutal. Anyway, I felt so guilty. Like this very small action of asking people to be friends, or not asking people to be friends, but trying to make friends with people on very shaky ground, maybe somewhat delusional ground. How did I begin that sentence? It was just, okay, here's how I'll wrap it up. It was cool, because even though it made me all upset, and even though it was embarrassing for me, and even though I got rejected, and even though I didn't make a very good attempt at the thing that I was trying at, and even though, yeah, I made people feel a little uncomfortable, and that seemed like a huge deal to me, that's the worst part. That's the worst part. The rejection wasn't anything personal.
That awkwardness that they felt was like not huge, not a big deal, not anything that they like cared about, right? Like there's totally different levels of awkwardness. Like if I go up to a stranger and say, "Hey, want to take a ride on my hog?" Like, wait, a hog is a motorcycle. If I go up and say, like, ask somebody for, like, sex in a really, like, aggressive, awkward way, that's going to be like a negative experience, something they look back upon negatively, where it's like, oh my god, what was that? That was awful, an awful experience. But somebody like coming up and asking about how to make friends, a little awkward, but you're talking like awkward in the sense of, I don't know what to compare it to, but it's such a tiny amount of awkwardness. It's meaningless.
And I have nothing to lose by just being unafraid and being myself and going after what I want. And if it doesn't work out, or I didn't do things in the best way, then I can just learn from that. And maybe that's a really basic thing to say, but like I appreciated the kindness.
I will literally wingman you. Now, I don't know where you live. If you live far away, it probably ain't ever going to happen, but if you live somewhat close, I would say follow me, follow my channel. I'm eventually going to make a social media. Hit me up on there, and we'll hang out. And even if you don't want to make friends online, well, like, we'll become friends. And then I'll wingman you. So, it's kind of similar to wingmanning with a date, but it's wingmanning for friendship. So then, instead of you ingratiating yourself with a random group of people, it's you and me ingratiating ourselves. So then I do the heavy lifting, and you get friends. You can do stuff like that. I'd be down for it. You know what I mean? Especially, if somehow you could come to where I live, oh my god, that'd be crazy. I'd just straight up introduce you to people. Say, hey, we're hanging out, me and these people. Hey, this is Sasha, or whatever your name is. And boom, pretty much immediately you're hanging out with a group of people, and they kind of by default have to accept you. They can't just reject you from the friend group because I'm bringing you into it. And it's not even necessarily, like, friend groups aren't what they are when you're like 19, 20 years old. Pretty much like mid 20s and beyond, friend groups are so like not tight in a way. You're always going to be hanging out with new people in different kinds of contexts, right? Maybe you go and hang out with your coworkers, and maybe they bring some of their friends. There's always just new people around. Is typically how it kind of works. So because of that, you can just make friends very easily. It kind of gets easier as you get older. There's just no reason to not make friends with whoever you meet.
That I was shown. So I thought I was going to be sobbing I thought I was going to be sobbing coming over here. It is so strange. I feel like I am so many different people. Not like I have different identities. Just
Alters.
I've been on opposite sides of so many situations. And
exactly like what that person said. Do you know yourself? It seems like you don't. It seems like you know a lot about yourself. But there's kind of this like big picture that it's like you have all the pieces, but you haven't fully put the puzzle together yet. And once you do, so much of the pressure of making friends, it's just gone.
just because you know something in your head too doesn't mean that you'll know it in a way where it's like you're putting it into practice. Because I knew when I walked up to those people, you can't just walk up to people and make friends that way. And
I mean, you can. I've done it multiple times. There's been several times where I'm walking around at night. Maybe not, like, I can think of twice that this has happened, where I'm walking around at night and there is a group of people drinking at a public park, like a playground. Group of adults just partying, drinking at a playground. It's like, hey, I just go up, usually with some booze to drink myself, and say, hey, let's party. And typically, it's incredible. Like, the 2 times it's happened, it's been nothing but a very positive experience. Where it's like, hey, like, one of these times was on Canada Day, so there's tons of people walking around anyway. And you meet new people, because there's people everywhere. So, there was a group of about 10 people who were just drinking at this playground. And so I just walk up to them, and I'm chit-chatting with them, and I quickly, 10 minutes in, realize I already know one of them. Right? It's just like, hey, I know you.
I think part of me was saying, okay, well, but let's try. Anyway. This video is much longer than I wanted it to be. I don't know why this video is so long.
Well, here's a story about a funny man named Andy.
Yeah. Sure. Interesting channel. I might have to check out some more of her content. It's gonna be hard for you to make friends for a while, but keep putting yourself out there. Keep trying. Yeah, I'm sure it'll work out.